We live. We back. We back, family. Welcome to episode 15 of the N1 podcast. It's your boy, Uncle Tito.
It's your boy, Stefan.
How you doing today, my brother?
I'm pretty good, bro. How about yourself?
I'm all right, man. Yo, we ain't record last week, guys. Feel so bad about that. You know, really trying to be mindful and trying to, really keep pushing this algorithm and keep pushing this content out for you guys. But I just burnt out. Honestly, I've been working like crazy. Even with the 2 weeks off that I had from one of my main job, essentially, I thought that would, and I mean, it did help. Don't get me wrong. But just last week, dog, I don't know, bro. I just felt like I was just out of it. It was just so, we just ended up not recording, ended up taking a break. But we back better than ever. Give y'all some content. Shout out to you guys, though, because even though we haven't dropped anything last week, y'all been running up the viewership just a little bit. We got a couple spikes for the last 2 episodes. So I want to shout out to all you guys tuning in, watching, giving us a chance, whether if you like us, dislike us, whether if you was just going about your day, thank you. So shout out to you guys.
Make sure y'all subscribe, like, and, help the channel grow.
That's what we trying to do, baby. Yes, sir. So let's get right into it. NBA, it's the late stage of free agency where, we're getting close to the time as we spoke last week. This regular season's about to approach. A couple moves that, maybe you could say shook the needle, maybe not. But we could start with Klay to Miami. Klay Thompson signed a deal with the Miami Heat. 2 years, I believe, $13 million. The Heat get the floor spacer that they needed. Even though he may not be the same Klay from 2017, 2018, he's still someone that, you have to watch when he's out there. You can't just leave him standing in the corner by himself because he's just always going to be a threat. Possibly he could, my opinion, he's the second greatest shooter of all time. A lot of people got him top 5.
Yeah, me personally, I think he's top 5. I probably have him slightly behind, like, Reggie.
Reggie?
Yeah. He's probably like 4th or 5th on my list.
I'm not mad at it. Honestly, anyone that you have in the top 5, you can't go wrong. For me, Klay is just, even, this was something I had seen once before, and it made a lot of sense. If you're going to teach your kid the mechanics of a jump shot, I'm going to show them Klay videos all day.
Yeah, Klay has probably one of the most textbook jump shots I've ever seen in my life.
It's a beautiful thing. Him and Ray Allen. Both of them, when you're talking about like you said, textbook jumper, talking about release, follow through, using your legs with your shot, they're two of probably the best to ever do it.
Too. But what's a slight difference between those two, and this is probably just like basketball nerd stuff, is that Ray still like dips his shot a little bit. Like Ray might start his shot from like his navel or, arms extended, like pull up, which is fine. Steph kind of does that too. Klay's always shooting from like chest up. When he catches the ball, his elbows and his chest are almost parallel, so his release is just that quick. So it's just, small differences, but they're two, like I said, fundamentally sound. Ray elevates a lot on his jump shot. Klay elevates. He has a decent elevation, but it's just like that. It's that middle ground, because like Steph, his jump shot is like wrist, forearm, quick release. He doesn't really jump high on his jump shot. He can just catch and give like a little, pop, and that ball's flying. Klay is kind of like that middle ground between like how Ray elevates, how Steph can kind of get that quick pop. And like I said, like to your point, Klay's Klay, man. I mean, as beautiful of a jump shot and as fundamental of a shooting form as you'll find in the game of basketball.
Now, what do you think that that move does for Miami? Does it make that much of a difference for them in terms of their ceiling? How do they stack up against New York, Philly, some of these stronger teams? Do you think it moves the needle?
It makes them better as a team. I can't say that move makes them better than like the other maybe top 3 teams in the East, which I still don't know who the 3rd best team in the East is going to be. Because right now, to me, the East is just Philly and New York. I don't think the move makes the Heat better or in that same realm as them. Klay, Klay's what, 36, going on 37 now?
36, yeah.
Been through a lot of injuries. I don't think the year he had last year was like all his fault. Like a lot of people are talking about his struggles, but when you if not like a lot of Mavericks games were on TV, but if you ever caught a Mavericks game, Klay was also in positions that weren't suited to his strengths a lot of the times, forced to put the ball on the floor a little bit more than what he usually is comfortable with. Last year was just a Cooper Flag year. Just go out there, hoop, figure it out,
grow.
Don't worry about everybody else on the team. So,
and you gotta and people gotta understand too. I feel like this may be a thing. I'm just trying to put different perspectives out there. When you get to that age and you don't have anything to get up for, I could imagine it being tough. Like, you're not really playing for nothing. They're looking at, like you said, they're giving the keys to Coop to take over the reins. So they're kind of just figuring things out again. So it could be a situation for him too where you get up when you have motivation and when you're like, oh, okay, wow, we actually might have something here. So I could understand completely why he had the type of season that he had last year.
Honestly, that's a great point. You got to remember, Klay has only known winning his entire NBA
Essentially,
life.
Real shit though.
And he left the Warriors to be with Dallas in the hopes of playing with Kyrie and Luka. That quickly soured once they traded away Luka. Kyrie got hurt, and now the organization's pivoting into a rebuild. This isn't what he came and signed up for. So the fact of the matter that, I'm glad that they did buy him out, did right by him, allowed him to go somewhere where, he was going to be able to compete.
Yeah.
Like you said, maybe had that fire under his belly again. And even in his presser, like, as another Bahamian, like, man, I'm glad that he gets to perform in front of family and friends.
I forgot he's Bahamian.
Yeah. Be close to the island. Like, you can catch a fast ferry, a quick flight, go be in.
And he loves riding boats, so he's probably going to take a boat himself out there.
But at the same time too, if if your job is to compete, you do got to still stay focused. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. Which I don't doubt that Klay has a lack of focus or a lack of commitment.
No, for sure. But for sure.
He gonna lock in.
He gonna lock in. But hey, just on a quick side note, shout out to the men's Bahamians team last night. Beat Uruguay in a bit of a tight one. Buddy Hield dropped 28, had some late game heroics. So, the shout out to the
Bahamas are emerging as a basketball. I'm not gonna say powerhouse, but they're emerging. They're on their way. They've been making a lot more noise in the last few years than I can ever remember. Like, growing up.
We've gotten more pros to commit. The Bahamas in basketball is no stranger to each other. From Klay's dad, Michael Thompson, to Rick Fox. Now you have people like Buddy Hield. You have obviously VJ Edgecombe. You had Eric Gordon. You've had NBA. He was a first round pick. Kai Jones.
Okay.
It's always been talent in the Bahamas, in college, overseas. Big tournaments in Nassau. I think that's the Atlantic tournament that they host in Nassau for college. So everything's just kind of coming together. And I think right now what we see for the program is if VJ continues to play for the country, you have a potential like superstar, NBA superstar. I'm not gonna say VJ's an MVP caliber yet, but he should make a second or third team All-NBA fairly quick in his young NBA career. So it's exciting. But back to Klay, what this means for Miami on the court, obviously floor spacing.
Yep.
For him, he's probably going to get a lot of open looks. You think about Giannis driving down the lane. You think about Bam and his passing ability. You think about Spoelstra and his ability to create offense. I think the Heat last year were one of the leaders in pace.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So if Klay's body's good, if his conditioning is right, and he's able to sprint up and down the floor, he's going to get a lot of transition threes, a lot of those looks where he just sprints to the corner and is able to catch and shoot. I'm excited to see that. It's going to, not allow teams to double-team Giannis, whether it be in the post or if he's just at the top of the key trying to get downhill. So it definitely opens up a lot for the Heat, and you have two shooters now. You have Tim Hardaway Jr. And you have Klay Thompson. I think you're going to stagger those minutes. I think especially for Klay being older in age, he's going to be able to get some good rest time on the bench and be fresh in fourth quarters and late game situations. So overall, just a great move. It's a smart fit. Happy for Klay. Happy for the Heat. The Heat have a real buzz now.
Yeah.
You know,
They got a roster. Now
yeah.
they have something to work with. And they might not be done because transitioning, there's rumors that, and you guys heard it here first, because I forgot, I think it was the episode South Beach Back. Y'all go watch that episode when they first announced that Giannis got traded to Miami. And we said that Kyrie Irving would be a great fit with Miami because they needed a dynamic guard to help Giannis, you know, take pressure off of him in the half-court settings and things of that nature. And now there are rumors. They're not anything official has happened yet, but there are rumors of the Miami Heat and the Dallas Mavericks being in talks for a trade that would involve Kyrie Irving. So from what I'm seeing right now, the Miami would receive Kyrie Irving. Dallas would receive Nikola Jovic. I want to say Pell Larson. 2028 first, 2029 second, and a 2030 first round pick. How you feel about that, man? Because me and you kind of had a discussion off camera about it, and I think personally that they should pull that trigger.
So 2 first and a second round draft pick,
And two
young players.
I'm doing it. I'm pulling that trigger. If you got to get a third team involved, I'm doing it. I think Kyrie is the perfect fit for Giannis in the sense of we've already seen Kyrie play with ball dominant, you know, whether it be a point forward like a Luka or LeBron James, and he's a great off the ball player. He can catch and shoot. He whenever the offense is stagnant or whenever there's nothing going on, you can just dump it to Kyrie. He can break down the defense with isolation. He's not, we spoke about, we're not trying to compare diminished players, but we looked at someone like Dame where we spoke about his offense, and although yes, he is a great offensive player, he's not really as versatile as someone like Kyrie Irving.
And very few people are, especially at the guard position. Like, outside of Kyrie and Jalen Brunson, ain't too many point guards who can post up the way they do.
Yo, and you know what's so crazy, bro? I knew Kyrie played in the post, but I saw a video recently where I realized, I was like, yo, this motherfucker really be backing people down at like 6'2", bro. Like, he's really getting up in there, pause. Like, I was like, it's like kind of shocked me for a second. Like, I couldn't believe it.
I'm a very big Kyrie fan.
I know you are.
But at the same time, too, I'm also objective. Would I love to see Kyrie in a Heat uniform? Absolutely. Does it fit perfectly? Absolutely. I want Kyrie for the right price, though, if I'm the Heat. Like, if I'm putting on my GM hat, I have a rule in sports where, like, you don't trade your future for old age. I know Kyrie's obviously still going to be highly productive, but Kyrie is also 34, coming off a year in which he did not play, fully recovering from a ACL tear. Kyrie has had a long history of knee injuries. So if you're telling me I got to give up 2 first-round picks to get Kyrie and 2, I'm not saying those players are going to be like my franchise players, but I'm giving up more youth and a third-round pick. Does that move? I mean, I feel like that move would put them in top 3 conversations, but
absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Man, I hate to use the word if, but it is what it is. If they could all stay healthy, absolutely top 3. Might be top 2.
But even still, I wouldn't say it guarantees you a finals appearance. No. I wouldn't say that necessarily makes them automatically better than Philly.
I don't know. Because if Embiid isn't playing,
but that's what I was gonna say. One thing is about is you got to play both scenarios. There's a best and worst case scenario for both. So the same way you can say if Embiid is not healthy, I can say if Kyrie's not healthy, if Klay's not healthy, because those are all aged, hurt players as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if we're gonna put like best case scenario and say like Embiid is who he is and he's healthy, along with LeBron, Jaylen Brown, Maxey, and
VJ,
VJ, and they added some other bench players that
KCP,
was like
Anthony Simons.
Yeah.
There's a couple. Philly stacked.
Yeah.
Still has to all come together though.
So my point being back to the Kyrie thing and just like in that proposed, because like I said, this is rumors, that proposed trades package is like, should that not go the way you want it to?
Yeah.
God forbid, let's knock on wood, Kyrie gets hurt or Clay gets hurt, and now your future is gone. You've given up draft picks for the next 3 or 4 years in a league that is dying for draft picks, whether it be Utah, whether it be OKC, the Celtics.
Yeah.
When you look around the league, there's a quote-unquote tanking problem because draft picks are the premier capital because they understand, like, if I can find a player who can outperform his contract in this league where the contracts are exorbitant, expensive, that second apron is no joke.
Yeah.
Teams are trying to find ways to stay underneath it.
Yeah.
I want young talent that's going to outperform their contract, and maybe I can pay them a decent amount in the future, keep them for another 2-3 years, and recycle the thing. That's what we saw with Luau Dort. Luau Dort was outperforming his contract for a long time, got too expensive, they moved into Atlanta. I mean, OKC has, 3 players with, over $200 million contracts?
Yeah.
So, same thing with that young boy. I think he's German, like in OKC, light-skinned dude.
McCain?
Not McCain, the other one. He's a bucket, bro.
Aaron Wiggins?
No, it's not Wiggins either. Hold on, man. Hold on. Because
Casey Wallace?
It might be him. It might be OKC. Let me look at OKC's roster just very quickly. It is, man, Google has like some of the worst quick searches sometimes. Because I think he was hurt during the playoff run this year. Mitchell. John Mitchell.
AJ Mitchell. AJ Mitchell.
AJ Mitchell.
He's due. Or did they sign him?
I don't think he signed yet.
Yeah, but he's due too.
He's someone who was outperforming their contract.
Yeah.
So my point about the Kyrie situation with Miami is that you don't want to find yourself in a position where you're asked out. And, okay, this situation didn't work. I don't even have draft capital to pivot off it. So it's just about the balance.
But I feel like even then, Miami's not a franchise, at least in the last decade, that builds through the draft.
No,
they've always been a middle tiering team. Like,
but
like you said, they're not good enough to be a contender, but they're not bad enough to be a lottery team.
And that's their problem. They're in the middle ground. So you don't want to compound problems. You don't want to say, not only do I have, like, because regardless, if you bring Kyrie to that team, the Heat are an old team.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of youth on that team whatsoever. And then I would worry about depth. So, okay, you bring Kyrie, you would assume that Davion Mitchell moves to the bench, right? Mm-hmm. And allows Kyrie to be, maybe on, like, not a minutes restriction, but, load management.
Yeah.
Right? But what about the rest of the roster? How do you build that roster out? You're going to go add more old veterans?
Veterans, yeah.
And expect them to play 82 games and still have strength in their legs for the postseason?
Yeah.
There's problems here. You know what I'm saying? So I look at these situations just like stocks. Like, yeah, I love the company Google.
Yeah.
I would love to invest in Google. Do I want Google when it's at all-time highs? No. I want Google when it's 10%, 15% off its high, and I can see upside to the value. Mm-hmm. So do I love Kyrie? Of course I love Kyrie. But I would love for the Mavericks to buy Kyrie out, and I can sign him on a fair deal that's lucrative for both sides, keep my draft capital, and if worst case scenario, I can package Kyrie with draft capital to possibly get better or more draft capital. Yeah. Because the Heat's problem for the last, 6-7 years is that they've always been in the middle of the pack, or they've gotten just close enough to the sun but can't quite get over the hump.
Yeah.
So they lost 2 finals appearances, and I've said this before, just like a stock. A stock hits a certain resistance level, can't get above it, eventually it'll roll over and crash. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with the Heat. They had that Eastern Conference Finals, 2 years, 2 finals appearances, never got a chip. Mm-hmm. Eventually what happened? Jimmy started getting hurt, also getting old. Bam and Tyler Hero start
Beefing.
beefing, and then next thing you know, that whole team is blown up. You got rid of Strus, you got rid of
Vincent,
Martin. That whole team that brought you there just blew it up. You're not fully committing to a rebuild.
Yeah, but you're not. What's the word? But you're not
in true title contention.
Yeah,
the worst thing you can be in sports is in the middle.
Yeah.
You want to be either
really bad to get good,
exactly.
or be really good to have a chance to win.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hear you.
Exactly.
I mean, if they could, I just don't see Dallas buying Kyrie out though, because they could still get something for him. And if I was Dallas, I wouldn't buy him out either.
No,
if
not
I
at
could
all.
get a couple draft picks for him, why not?
And there's reasons for Dallas to keep him.
Yeah.
And not only that, but if you know, I feel like sometimes when these rumors go out, I feel like it's like a temp check.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like someone leaks these rumors and kind of sees like, you know, what is the value for Kyrie at this stage in his career. I saw other rumors with
serious,
I saw other rumors with like Toronto and what they could package. And
I seen that too.
Like Toronto has some younger players like an Emmanuel Quickly and some other guys. Yeah, RJ Barrett. You know what I'm saying? Some other maybe more valuable first round picks. You know what I'm saying? So you look to see what you can shop and get for Kyrie if you're the Mavericks and you want to get the best value for him, or you keep him. Have Cooper Kupp have another, veteran and star player by his side, and see what that next development is like for him.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of just wait. You wait, and for the Mavericks, it's no rush. They honestly they hold all the cards.
Yeah,
it's just that
they
for
got
the
the
Heat,
leverage. Yeah.
For the Heat, I would just hate to see. Not even about like the injuries, like them getting hurt. Because, like, knock on wood, I want to see him, Clay, Giannis. I want to see all of them healthy. I want to see them compete.
Yeah.
But let's just say that, man, dang it, we ran into Philly in the second round. Looking at bad luck. And we lost them in a tough 6-game series.
Yeah.
You know, we can't get over the hump in New York. You know what I'm saying? And whoever, maybe
if Kyrie goes to Miami, that matchup is interesting to me.
It is.
New York versus Miami. If that series was to come about,
I would take New York in 6.
New York in 6?
Only because of depth, bro. My thing with the Heat is like, where else would you get production from? Like those, what do those non-Giannis, non-Bam minutes look like in the front court? Who?
But then you see, if you got Kyrie.
But then if you, like I said, you match up with Kyrie. Okay, so put Kyrie in there. Like you let's say, I don't even know who the Heat's bench would be with Kyrie. Let's say you would almost have to have Bam or Giannis on the court with him at all times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would assume. Because Kyrie's not the defensive player. I mean, Kyrie was a solid defensive player in his prime, but like right now he's not.
Coming off injury, you're not going to
expect him to be a stopper.
Yeah.
So you need some type of rim protection. You need someone behind him who could, help hedge off screens, who can help rotate over quickly, challenge shots at the rim, right? So you would need one of those two guys. But okay, where else? What about? Well, Clay has a backup in
Tim Hardaway
Jr. But I don't know what the front court. They still have Khalil Ware, right?
I believe so. Let's look at.
Let's just double check and make sure.
I think so. I believe so.
Like, can he grow and mature into a role that makes you say, "Oh, okay, that makes us, more competitive. That makes us more legit."
Nah, Khalil Ware is. They sent him to the Bucks.
In the Giannis trade. I was like, They
still got Bobby Portis too coming off the bench.
Yes.
Shot 40% from 3 last year.
But even then, Bobby Portis isn't like a rim protector. He's obviously a great, power forward. I think he can switch between power forward, small forward, kind of guard either one.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just I feel like there's a lot more that we need to see from the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if the Kyrie thing plays out, if he comes, at what price. It's just, I always try to think future, like when it comes to any pro sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're trading for age veteran, you're giving up future draft picks. Because how many times in the NBA have we seen that? Like, wow, you gave up this first round, this second round pick, and that turned into freaking Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That turned into Jason Tatum. That turned into this player. It's like you see it all the time in sports, And it's like, keep your draft capital. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, there's a draft every year. There's new youth, new talent coming into the league, and you kind of want to have the option to say, okay, yeah, Kyrie could serve you well for the next 3 to 4 years, or this other player could be the franchise player for the next 10.
Yeah.
You know, it just all depends. I want Kyrie at the right price. I don't want to necessarily leverage my future for Kyrie because I don't think the Heat have like the most draft capital to begin with. So like any first round picks you do have, especially if you can leverage that to get a higher pick, you know, that's just me personally.
Yeah.
It's not about a Kyrie thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just about age, timeline.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm pulling that trigger. Kyrie's so gifted offensively.
I'm not mad at, hey, listen, I'm not mad at you for doing it.
I'll worry about all that other shit later. I feel like, and even for an organization like Miami, they're not. Even if they were to do something like that and give up their draft capital, I believe in their I want to use the right word. I believe in, I guess you say, their strength as an organization.
Their development system, the way they can.
To where they'd be able to weather a situation like that if they were to lose that much draft capital and they didn't get nothing out of it. So, I mean, all the points you made are great points, and they're logical, and it makes 1,000%. If you're a functional GM, it makes sense. Like, why are you going to mortgage your future for something that is not guaranteed? The dude just came off an ACL injury. Mm-hmm. But, bro, that talent offensively is
like
just...
I said, I get it, bro. I understand. Like, you know, I'm on record with this, how I feel about Kyrie. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's just right price, right situation. If I'm putting my GM hat on.
I hear you.
Know what I'm saying? That's it.
I'm not mad at you.
Yeah, that's it.
DeMar DeRozan signed with Denver on a 1-year, $3.9 million deal. Says it's generating major buzz amongst fans and analysts, but to me, that doesn't really move the needle for me.
It doesn't.
It doesn't solve their defensive woes. Nope. They were one of the worst defensive teams last year.
It actually kind of adds to it.
Adds to it because not only was DeMar never known as a great defender, but he's also 37 years old now. Mm-hmm. So he's getting old. I guess
floor spacing, not a really great
3-point shooter. Even though he works well in the mid range, and
mm-hmm.
He can kind of like how we just said about Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
In a half court setting, you could kind of just give him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have anything going on, if they're if it's stagnant, but I don't know. It just doesn't move the needle for me. I don't look at Denver any different than I did before the signing.
Man,
they're a mid-tier team in the West now at this point.
When you have an MVP in Jokic, he's
gonna win games.
Yeah, you're gonna win games, and he's too good to allow you to be a horrible franchise. But you'll always be like a second round exit.
Yeah, their championship window's closed.
Yeah, I mean they got one out of it. Thank God. Thank God they did get one. But what makes matters worse is that they got rid of Peyton Watson.
Yeah.
So once again, age, man, and you have Jokic smack in the middle of his prime. Jamal Murray has not been able to produce the way he did during their championship run in 2023.
He just fell off. I don't know what's been going on with him, if it's personal or just...
I think it's sometimes those little knick-knack injuries come up, and I think it's... that's what happens in sports, right? Is that like, okay, Murray's not 30 yet. Murray's what, 28? 29 maybe?
No, he's about to be 30.
He's about to be 30?
If not 30 already, let's see.
Okay, because I was like he was about 28, 29. Which is still about 30, honestly.
He is 29.
29? Okay, so I wasn't far off. But, you have Murray who was here, and then you have someone like the Timberwolves who's doing this. And then you've seen last year do this, surpass them. And when you're aged, coming off, once again, history of injuries.
Yeah.
And then you have 6'9", 6'10" McDaniels picking you up full court.
Hounding,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you have
real.
Other, Aaron Gordon didn't play that series, hamstring injuries, in and out the lineup all year long.
Mm-hmm.
It's a highway to the basket. Jokic was never a rim protector, never a defender. And you have these young bucks who there was another young guy coming off the bench. There was like 2 young guys coming off the bench for Minnesota that just was layup and dunk during that playoff series. I'm forgetting their names at the time. Bear with us, y'all. Like, it's been a long time since we watched basketball, and I'm bad with names.
Yeah.
But it's you've seen Minnesota being able to attack them, and that's a formula that like all the contending teams in the West can do. Like OKC can do that if you match up against them. They can just get downhill and attack you guys. It's like McDaniel said it was sweet in the lane. Like just keep going at them. Like they're not stopping a nosebleed. Who else is in the West that could do that? That's I think even the Lakers. Honestly, if they match up against the Lakers, I don't think they get that same result like they did prior to. Like the Lakers have gotten a little bit younger, a little wider, but still younger. And Austin Reeves likes to get downhill. So does Luka at times. It just does not solve any of their needs, and they just got older. I think they're starting to waste Jokic's prime.
Even though Joker said he would never leave Denver, but he has to go to them and be like, hey, the fuck we going over here, man? Hey, we gotta make some shit shake, because y'all can't be giving me this.
Can you look up who's the GM for Denver right now?
Yeah. Oh, they do not have a traditional sole general manager. They use a shared front office leadership team by Jonathan Wallace and Ben Tenzer.
Oh boy. Man. Oh man. So, why that's scary for me, bro?
Why?
Not having a traditional GM, they're sharing responsibilities, right? That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's like I'll look at that like American comic books. American comic books has the same characters with like 1,000,000,001 writers telling different versions of what they see in that character, right? So Spider-Man can have been written by Tim Horton or Mark McGuire or whatever. I'm just making up names, versus in Japanese comic books, manga, you have one story told by one person with one vision, and it's going in a linear direction. So it sounds like for Denver, you got a lot of ideas in there, but no direction. Different people thinking different things, but no direction, i.e. wasting Jokic's time, you know what I'm saying, in Denver, versus having a GM, a owner, and a coach pulling in one direction, writing the same linear story to get the result you're looking for.
Being on the same page, being in sync. Yeah. No,
exactly.
So Denver got a lot of problems that they got to figure out, and that just doesn't, like I said, it doesn't move the needle for me. It doesn't change anything. So we'll see how that goes. Shout out to them for trying, but yeah. In other news, I'm getting tired of this fucking this dumb ass discourse that I be seeing with these players and the way they be talking lately. So, bro, no, stop, no. So, bro, in the last 2 weeks, 2 separate stories have came up where Kevin Durant, I think he went on Fred VanVleet's podcast, and Tracy McGrady said it recently separately on, I think, his podcast with Vince Carter or some media outlet, where they both were basically making the point that an MVP is more valuable than an NBA championship. And this was one of the points that really pissed me off by Tracy McGrady. And T-Mac, you grew up.
I think I have the soundbite. You want me to play it? I think I have the soundbite.
Now, fuck the soundbite. Listen, they look that shit up that they want to see it. Let's get right into it. Fuck all that. Listen, T-Mac, I grew up watching you, bro. I fell in love with basketball because of you. The starred Orlando jersey, the blue jersey, the blue sleeve, the blue armband. Bro, listen, I grew up this is a Kobe stan right here. And I'll sit in his face and I will say that Orlando T-Mac was better than Kobe in that time period. And I stand on it. That's how much I'm rocking. But you can't come on wherever you're recording that shit and say that no one's gonna remember the 15th or the 14th man on the bench that won an NBA championship. Bro, you know that we're not talking about the 14th or 15th man when we have those discussions. When we're talking about an MVP or a championship, we're obviously talking about the driving forces, the players who are the first option, who are carrying the franchise. So don't be dishonest when and I don't even want to say you're dishonest because I don't know you. I don't know your thought process. But let's be smarter about like how we're like wording things, because obviously we're not talking about the 15th man on the fucking bench, bro. We're talking about the best players on the team. So if you are the best player on the team, I mean, regardless, you could pick what you want. You could want to have an MVP over a championship. Me personally, I wouldn't. I think you'd pick a championship over an MVP.
Personally, yeah.
You'd pick a championship over an MVP.
If I'm that player, like if I'm a role player, if I'm a role player, I'll still take the championship.
The championship, right?
Yeah.
But don't sit here and say like, yo, no one's gonna remember. Of course not. But we're not, when we're having those discussions, we're not talking about them. We're talking about the star dudes.
And he's still wrong. So here's the thing, right? And I've been seeing a bit of a trend for the argument against ring culture and pertaining to players who have not won, but the great players who have not won, they tend to diminish it, right?
It drives me crazy.
And
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna let you finish your point. And that's why I fuck with Charles Barkley too, because as much as he never. You think so?
No,
he
I've seen it. Even recently,
really?
he has. Yeah, even recently he has.
I feel like he doesn't as much. But go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
I'm gonna let you chop it up.
He's definitely done it.
Go ahead,
it stems from a place of insecurity. Athletes are built off of ego. Like ego and confidence is their gold and their crude oil and their gas that fuels them to get them to greatness, to get them to that upper 1% of athletes, right? So when you sit down in retirement and you're no longer in the limelight in the same facet, because no light would be brighter than the NBA's light if you're an athlete or the NFL or whatever the case may be. It's just, it is what it is. It doesn't mean you'll be, fading into obscurity or anything like that. But when you're playing and people see you 4 or 5 nights out the week, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, they try to, especially in this, media age, control the narrative, right? Put their thoughts and their opinions out on it. So they are obviously going to speak from their perspective. So you'll say like back then T-Mac's better than Kobe. I would go challenge you to go back and look at T-Mac's playoff performances and clutch moments and then come back to me and let's have that talk.
Yeah.
Because you'll be shocked. You might be shocked to see what T-Mac and Orlando did in winnable games, in winnable series against teams in the East. And then I'll show you what Kobe Bryant did in similar situations. And there's a big difference between the two. It was why I never liked I would have won with Shaq too. But yeah, if you're all this, like I said, if we're going to play what if games, there's 2 scenarios. Take best and worst.
Yeah.
But I can show you in the past where you didn't play your best.
Yeah.
You might have even played bad.
Yeah.
So the same way you could have said I won, you might have shit the bed during some of these times. You might have missed some clutch shots. You might have had a turnover. There's anything. If you're playing what if games, let's play all the what if games.
Yeah.
Let's go down to Marvel Universe and play all the what if games.
Yeah.
So I feel like players like T-Mac, they're searching for validation and a little bit more appreciation. And like I said, I appreciate T-Mac. Like, I'm from Florida.
Yeah.
T-Mac's a basketball legend, a Mount Rushmore of Florida talent, him and Vince Carter.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So who he is as a player, he has a move. You have a signature move. We call it the T-Mac. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, T-Mac, maybe you know who Kenny Boynton is. Maybe you don't know who Kenny Boynton is. But Kenny Boynton's signature move, if you're from South Florida, is a T-Mac hezzy.
Yeah.
It's that, and pull it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that left hand, left foot right into the, like, you're T-Mac.
Yeah.
We get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you added to the pull-up jump shot what AI added to the crossover damn near. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But an MVP, bro, an MVP is going to be remembered for you. You see, what he's not realizing is a championship is not just for the organization or the players. It's for the people. It's for the fans. Mm-hmm. It quite literally like uplifts a community. Mm-hmm. So when you look at New York, who just broke a 50-plus year drought,
yeah,
and you look how the fans turned out, they don't like no New Yorker would give a fuck about a Brunson MVP.
Facts.
Ever. They're gonna remember what Brunson did for the city, what Karl Anthony Towns did, what Jose Alvarado did for the city. Like when you win a championship, especially in the right market, as a player, or maybe arguably any market, because I can say that Timothy Mozgov was on that 2016 team when they won in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. He can go to any car dealership and probably get a sponsorship. Hey, I'm Timothy Mozgov. I won in Cleveland in 2016, show his championship ring and get. Bro, I didn't recognize the player, but I was out in Miami last week Friday when we didn't record at Kamado, and the table me and my girl sat in. They put Gary Trent Jr. and one other NBA player. I couldn't recognize him, and he was wearing a championship ring. I'm like, who the fuck is that nigga? Yeah, that ring was ridiculous. When you see that shit in real life, it's ridiculous.
What team was it?
I wasn't that close to see. Like Gary Trent was more like, I recognized Gary Trent like that because obviously he's still playing. The other dude looked retired but still in great shape, had on the ring. I couldn't tell what team it was. I tried, you know what I'm saying? But that ring, that notoriety, that memory is forever like stamped in like a city's history.
Facts.
Like when you walk into an arena, no one looks up into the rafters and go, wow, look at the 2018 MVP flyer. No, they see the championship, the Eastern Conference champions. That's what we see, the banners. We remember the winning, what it did for the city. It gives the city pride. The MVP is very much a individual award, and it will probably be remembered by, diehard basketball fans and yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
Even Kevin Durant tried to say the same thing. He was like, MVP means more than a championship. Nah, bro.
No, but you know why that is, bro? Because Kevin Durant is also a person who is seeking validation. And
because he went to
Kevin
Golden
Durant
State.
has done everything he possibly could to seemingly separate himself from that Warriors team.
Yeah.
Like, even his interview with Speedy, he had to be reminded that, like he said, Brooklyn was the most talented team he had on paper, and then he got reminded of the Warriors, and he had to recant. But it's like he constantly tries to rewrite and separate himself from the Warriors as if he never took it upon himself to go there in the first place.
But it's not just that, too. Like, bro, you were the thing is, too, I don't get it. Is because, like, bro, it's not like he went to the team and just he didn't produce. Like, bro, you won 2 finals MVPs. Mm-hmm. So, to me, it's like, I don't know. It's just insecurity. It just comes off as that, and just you're not secure with
who
the
he is as a player. He's not, bro, because he didn't get the reaction he thought he would. He didn't get the admiration and the love and the narrative he thought he would. So you see, every time KD speaks publicly, it's always, if not a slight, this weird way of like, oh, I didn't do that or that. Like he almost tries to rewrite history as if he wasn't there. Yeah, which is kind of odd to me. It's very odd, or the way that he's trying to remove himself out of like Steph's shadow, because he's sitting here. It's really perplexing because it's the other side of the coin to what Kobe went through. Then Kobe won championships with Shaq. No one cared that Kobe averaged like 28, 8, and 8. Yeah. Like just those numbers alone are like LeBron's Finals MVP numbers. But because you played with Shaq, who was like 35 and 14. It's like people look at 28, 8, and 8 as if like, oh, well, he was carried. The fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Kobe, but you know what Kobe did? Went to 3 straight, won 2 out of the 3, shut all that shit down.
Yeah.
Like now people look back, or they are starting to look back, and I really appreciate even Shaq saying it multiple times, like I was playing with the greatest player ever. The most dominant and arguably someone who's in the conversation for the greatest player ever. Mm-hmm. I got to play with that. And I appreciate him saying that. So now the narrative is no longer like Batman Robin. It's more Batman Superman. Yeah. It's more 1-2 punch, like how they always said. Yeah. Greatest ever, most dominant. KD is looked at like, how the hell I got the finals MVPs and y'all just lost Steph? Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. It stems from a place of just, validation, insecurity, not maybe feeling fully assured of where you stand in these talks with this pantheon. Because I get it. Maybe you turn on. First of all, if you're a player, don't look at ESPN to give no real critical thoughts. Like they don't know what the fuck they got going on up there. Anyway. So if you're looking at ESPN or Fox Sports or some random media outlet to get validation, like why am I not the topic? Like respectfully, you're never gonna be in that LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, Wilt. You're not, but it's fine. But that's what winning does, because history still just remembers winners, bro. That's history's told by the winner more times than not. So that's it.
We're not trying to hear that MVP talk. Now, all right. So there's another topic too that I wanted to talk about that I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to get your perspective because I think the audience, you guys have figured out by now that he's the mature one. I'm a little more of the, I'm growing, I'm learning though. I'm getting there day by day. But he's the one. So I really wanted to ask you your perspective. So this podcast came out recently where I guess, multiple NBA fathers sat together and just,
Wade's
talked
dad,
about
Jason Tatum's dad, LeVar Ball.
A couple of those dudes, they just sat around and, just spoke about like, the nuances and just, the things that go into, being an NBA father. And I had sent you something recently.
Yeah, I can play the sound bite.
I was gonna ask you if you wanted to play it. And basically, we're gonna play the soundbite, and then I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I got you.
Because I think it's a really interesting conversation.
It definitely is.
That ties into just even just like
Yeah, I got you.
They try to act like they're the fathers. I saw dads crying because of that situation.
How do each one of you guys feel about the way they want to divide you guys from your son when you get to that success?
Wow. I've seen it when it started with the draft. Mom got interviewed and sitting right next to it. Nothing was asked of me. We know what it took for us to get our kids there. And if stuff like that is going to break me, then I don't need to be around. It's messed up, but I know my son, how much he cares and loves me. And he knows what we've been through. As long as that matters, I'm good.
You Wade?
I had a hard time when my son first went to the league with them trying to separate the players from the dads or the families. And what I try to do is I try to instill what I learned from my situation is sit back and let them mature, and then everything will work out.
If you look at any of these superstars, who it's been given, from D Rose not talking to his parents to Kobe not being able to talk to his parents, so you're going to go through that. That's why I asked you. There's nothing you can just dodge.
The NBA.
So you want to hear my perspective?
Yeah, go ahead. Start us off.
I think it's definitely a very valid perspective in a lot of ways, especially for some of the men who were speaking. Dwayne Wade's dad, Jason Tatum's dad. It's a bit systemic in a lot of ways, going back into like the 50s and 60s, where to receive benefits from the government in the house, you couldn't have a father there. There was no male in the house if you're getting certain government assistance, right? So there's always been a systematic way that society has tried to remove, especially the black man, from the family and from the picture. And, what people try to be sold is this idea of just, strong women raising this child, single mother, kind of leaning into like negative black tropes and black stereotypes. And, you might see Jason Tatum's mom, you might see Derrick Rose's mom, but you may not see the dad being front facing, right? And being celebrated for raising their child, because it doesn't fit that narrative. Maybe that story isn't sexy enough, or that's not the story that like America wants to see, because they want to see black men depicted in a certain light. So I 100% understand where they're coming from. In that same clip, though, LeVar Ball doesn't really have a leg to stand on that, because LeVar Ball was like the most front-facing NBA dad, like I think ever in the history of anything. And I had some issues with LeVar Ball, not because like it was this weird thing. I think people online are stupid, where they were trying to turn black men into like a monolith and thinking that like all black fathers are this loud and rambunctious and I love my son, my son's better than this. It's like, bro, first of all, parents in general, for the most part, are delusional. Like, I've met parents who say that their 3 and 4-year-olds who could trade stocks, and they've never had a bad trade. I'm sitting here like, all right, sure, great. Like, do I believe that? Fuck no. You know, but as your parent, your kid can do no wrong. That just exists in society, you know. So my problem with LeVar Ball when he was, you know, really hyping up Lonzo to be that number 2 overall pick was like, he was hyping up his son at the cost of other black men. Oh, my son's better than Jordan. Jordan ain't this. I'll beat Jordan 1-on-1. Oh, my son's way better than Steph Curry. It's like, all right, bro. Yeah. Come on, bro. You at this point now you're putting a target on your back. Yeah. Or not your back, but your son's back. Yeah. You're writing a check that your sons have to cash. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And for better or for worse, like Lonzo now is more vocal on his podcast. He was talking about how he wished he had more control of his NBA career because just on his own podcast, he was talking about how, I didn't know about brand endorsements and all this and that. Like I had no control. It was like all his dad doing all this stuff and his dad is putting the big baller shoes, which you can argue is maybe the reason why his son isn't in the league now because he got injuries from them. Only God knows where the shoe was made from, but it clearly wasn't meant to support a professional athlete's foot. You might as well, hey Lonzo, you could have just borrowed some of the Converse from the 70s, dog. You know what I'm saying? You were better off wearing those, looking like you were Bill Walton or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because whatever you had on your feet, bro, clearly was a hindrance to you. Yeah. So he talked about having to go to Foot Locker and get a bunch of different shoes and da. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he not only missed out on just playing ability, but just having a chance to get some extra endorsement money. Yeah. Just to be an Adidas athlete, a Nike athlete. Look at your brother. Your brother's a Puma athlete. Yeah. Them young bulls love them mellows. Facts. You go to a court now, you see some kid between 12 and like 17, you might see some Pumas on their feet and their LaMelos. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I digress. I think it's a valid point. I think it's a valid thing for a lot of the fathers to feel left out because I mean the media in general doesn't love Kyrie and they for sure don't talk about the amazing job his dad did raising him and his sister in the face of tragedy, his mom passing away at an early age. They don't highlight Del Curry nearly enough. They don't highlight Dwayne Wade's dad, Michael Thompson. But even in the case of Dwayne Wade, I knew Dwayne Wade's mother struggled with drug addiction and, you know, how she overcome that. I think Dwayne would actually end up assisting her in getting her own church. She's a pastor and all that. But they don't tell the story about how he went to go live with his dad in Robbins and how his dad and his brothers, you know, formed his game in that backyard. They don't talk about Jason Tatum and his dad being another. I think his dad played overseas as well. And how he
almost made the league. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see John Morant's dad, but oftentimes I wish you didn't see John Morant's dad because he's usually just kind of like
drunk.
Having a little bit too much fun at the games. You know what I mean? And you don't really get to hear the story of how you hear it, but it's once again painted in a light where I feel like black men are painted as more stereotypical or like we'll lean into the story if we can paint that image.
If you could push that narrative.
Push that narrative because, Kyrie's dad, he's too quiet. He's too humble, reserved. And I mean, like, you know, that was my thing with LeVar. I was like, dude, Kyrie's dad is created the greatest ball handler we ever seen in our life. Mm-hmm. You don't hear him popping off all this and my son's better than this. Del Curry, if anybody has a right to brag, Del Curry has a right to brag, you know? Maybe we don't see Michael Jordan's dad as much. You know, his dad lost his life in a tragic robbery. You know what I'm saying? We don't highlight, the NBA doesn't highlight the black male figures nearly enough. So I think that's a valid point.
I thought it was a really interesting conversation because I was like, damn, it's kind of true. But then, I don't know, part of me was like, I feel like we do see NBA fathers, you know, that, you know, they may not be like, you know, highlighted as much as the moms, but I feel like we do.
No, the discrepancy between the two is very bad. So much to the point where it was like there was like on NBA Twitter or like this NBA meme culture in general. It's like when a player get drafted, it's like, oh, this player will insert tragic backstory. That's where some of the Malika Andrews, I think is her name.
Yeah.
where that came into play, and you're seeing like, here's this troubled kid from this checkered past and his single mom, and he did this, but you have to overcome this. It's like there's like constantly repackaging and reselling trauma and struggle and trying to, package it in a way of like overcoming, succeeding and stuff like that. You don't really hear about some of the stability, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't, Karl Anthony Towns' dad, you don't see him highlighted as enough. What does the media fixate on? The tragedy of him losing his mom. You know what I mean? So that's unfortunately like that's a news thing in general where like, tragedy and sad stories sell way more than the positive stuff because you can have something amazing happening and the media will be like, oh yeah, like little Johnny, won the spelling bee, but oh my God, look at this burning fire over here. Like that's just kind of like what it is. So I feel him on that point with the fathers, and I hope the NBA can hear these guys talk and hear their perspective and do a better job of creating a more inclusive and a better, well-rounded picture of black people. Because at the end of the day, the league's like 77% black.
Yeah.
So black fathers are driving this sport, and they need to be highlighted in a way that's fair and depicts them in accurate lighting.
Yeah. No, that's real. I found it. That's a great point, bro. Great thoughts, great perspectives. Because I just found that it was a really just something that I was like, damn. Like that was a very interesting like topic, and just that whole discourse. I found it to be very engaging. I think it's cool that you see like
you got these 4 black dads on a podcast talking about life, growing up NBA kids. I mean, it's interesting. Like sports families have a very unique dynamic.
I don't think no day-to-day person would ever understand. It's so different when you're dealing with that kind of. Like, I don't even want to say financial, like, because, I mean, obviously that plays into it, but it's just a whole different world.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of ways, you think about it, like, bro, like, these professional athletes, like, we sit here and we watch them, and we're like, damn, like, yo, these niggas got money, or, they live this life, and we see the houses and the cars and the women and the lifestyle and all that. But, like, if you really think about it, bro, these niggas probably deal with like way crazier shit than like regular people like me and you deal with. Just think about
like I'll say this, right? No matter where you come from or whatever, like life is always gonna have your challenges.
Yeah.
It's gonna be skewed. At the end of the day, their challenges are far different from like the average working class. So like their problems, when in the grander scheme of things, are really insignificant.
Yeah.
For a lot of these athletes, their problems could come from, I'll use Sebastian Telfair as an example, come from being the first to do anything to change the trajectory of the family.
That's what I was just about to get into,
and the
though.
pressure that comes with that, right? Like that is definitely
all the things that come along with being the breadwinner and dealing. Because think about it, like we put in perspective. All right, like we live our lives and we do like we make our money in it or what, whatever the case may be. But just imagine losing family because you're not giving them certain things because you're at a certain level, or
pull your mic closer.
Or they might perceive you a certain way because you're the breadwinner and you. I don't know. I just feel like.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, their problem is just learning how to say no. Like that's their problem.
Yeah.
But there's people in life, especially the times that we're living in now, where people can't afford healthcare. So like, really think about it.
Yeah.
Learning how to say no, being able to go to see the doctor. Learning how to say no, being able to afford to pay your rent. Learning how to say no, or, being able to afford your car note. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. You're cooking.
Yeah, you always got to kind of put things in perspective. Not to say that their problems aren't indeed problems, but their problems are very much fixable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for the ones who don't fix it out, like in the case of Sebastian Telfair, not being able to say no and not having a disciplined structure around him, let him back into the projects, and it wasn't all outside forces. He made decisions himself too. You know what I mean? There's benefits to like Jason Tatum always talks about his mom and how she's like, Sib's like, I haven't spent no endorsement money, no NBA money. My mom has all my, like, if I spend something, I get a call from my mom, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not all players have that, but at the same time, too, we had this, I think we mentioned this before, where the NBA is quickly becoming a middle class sport.
Yeah.
And like Tyrese Maxey comes from a very stable background.
Yeah.
Grew up in Dallas, got a great house. You know what I'm saying? I think his parents were like doctors or something like that. Like Steph Curry, like the league.
A lot of like former
very
players,
much listen.
A lot of former players got kids going into the league too.
A lot of
That's
them.
fact.
There's a lot of juniors in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's the light skin jokes going around in the NBA. A lot of that going on around the NBA Twitters and stuff like that. But hey, listen, man. If y'all ever thought you was gonna get a Hoop Dreams Part 2, fuck no. That was for the 90s, baby. That was my age. I had to watch niggas from the South Side. Nigga got a kid in the 11th grade trying to make it.
That's true, though.
ain't that no more.
Yeah, nah.
It ain't really much of that no more. You
Damn,
ain't finna
you
find
right.
that no more. That struggle is almost over, buddy. You gotta have money for AAU and lunch money and practice and get nah. Niggas ain't going to high school games no more, man.
Damn.
Just want to be in the AAU circuit. Bro, it's different. But yeah, man, anything else you got for the people, bro? Or
I think that's it.
That's it. It was fun.
Yeah. It's a good one. Damn, you got me thinking.
Yeah.
Anyways, hey, shout out to y'all, man.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back next week.
Peace.
Peace.